Hello everyone. In the previous episode, we tried to understand how a person uses mechanisms such as denial, rationalization, and projection when faced with a challenge. In this episode, we will continue with other defense mechanisms. As we mentioned before, we all use these mechanisms in our daily lives. Our journey to understand ourselves and our surroundings continues. The next defense mechanism is called compensation. Compensatory reactions are developed against feelings of inadequacy. The origin of these feelings of inadequacy lies in a person's real or imaginary deficiencies. Compensation can sometimes be seen aimed at a specific goal. For example, a person with a physical disability may compensate for the negative effects of this condition through continuous efforts. An Olympic champion swimmer may have reached this success by relentlessly fighting against the movement limitations left by polio. Instead of directly addressing the effects of their disability or inadequacy, a person may compensate for this deficiency by developing another aspect or by drawing attention to another aspect. For example, a young girl who is not physically attractive may attract the attention of many men through the warm and sympathetic effect she creates around her. A frail young man may compensate for his physical inadequacy by achieving superior success in academic studies. However, not all compensatory reactions are positive and beneficial. For example, a child who believes they are unloved and unwanted may try to compensate for their inferiority by bullying other children. A person with feelings of insecurity may direct all their behavior toward gaining the interest and approval of others. A person deprived of love and frustrated may compensate for their loneliness by overeating. The desire to do something better than others is a normal feeling, and such an attitude helps both individuals and societies develop. However, sometimes the compensation mechanism works negatively. The attitude of, "I want to do better than him," is replaced by, "I must prevent him from being superior to me." Such tendencies do not free a person from their feelings of inadequacy and hinder the development of the society they live in. Another defense mechanism is called sublimation. In the sublimation mechanism, primitive tendencies and desires are diverted from their natural purposes and transformed into activities appreciated by society. For example, someone who exhibited destructive tendencies as a child may become an excellent explosives or weapons expert as an adult. Intense curiosity about sexuality during childhood can turn into scientific research in adulthood. A child who loved to show off may become an admired actor as an adult. The next defense mechanism is identification. Identification is a part of the normal development process where a child, if male, tries to resemble their father, or if female, their mother. That is, it is a part of learning through imitation. In adulthood, identification is used as a defense mechanism aimed at preserving and enhancing one's value. During adolescence and adulthood, the number of people and groups a person identifies with increases. Adults identify with their jobs, homes, special interests, children's successes, and political doctrines. The development and success or failures and problems of the group they belong to concern them closely as their own success or problem. Nowadays, many people identify themselves with their accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, or with basketball and football clubs. The next defense mechanism is introjection. Introjection is a mechanism where a person incorporates some characteristics and beliefs of another person or group into their self, making them part of their personality. This mechanism is in many ways the opposite of the projection mechanism. In the first, external events are internalized, while in the latter, internal experiences are attributed to the outside world. Although introjection and identification mechanisms have common aspects, there is an important point where they differ. In identification, a person adopts people or concepts that align with their ideals, while the values internalized may be contrary to the person's previous beliefs. Another defense mechanism is displacement. Displacement occurs when expressing the reaction caused by a specific stimulus is dangerous, and the reaction is directed from that stimulus to another, or another reaction is shown instead. For example, a person unfairly criticized by their superiors at work suppresses the emotions that could have dangerous consequences if expressed outwardly. Later, they may take out their anger on their spouse or children over a trivial issue. People who are particularly sensitive to rejection and criticism suppress their anger feelings under a compliant attitude and later release them on someone else. Swearing, destructive criticism, or gossip are often displaced expressions of accumulated hostility. The next defense mechanisms are sympathy and submission. In the sympathy mechanism, the attitude developed by the person can be summarized as, "If people love me, they won't hurt me." People who use the sympathy mechanism generally try to gain love by leaving the impression of being good people around them. However, a healthy and good person is good to others as well as to themselves. In some people, the effort to gain love is replaced by a compulsive submission attitude. Unlike the previous group, these people do not even hope to find love. They have developed submissive behavior more for gaining security than love. Their attitude can be summarized as, "If I submit, they won't hurt me." For such a person, the intensity of anxiety ensures a certainty in disbelief in love. Therefore, they provide security by submitting to everyone around them without discrimination. Another defense mechanism is emotional insulation. The emotional insulation mechanism can work in various ways. A person takes measures to prevent their emotional needs from being influenced by others by gaining independence from other people. Such a person tries to protect themselves from disappointment and harm by avoiding emotional involvement in their relationships. These people cover their emotional needs with a lid, as it were. For example, some people experience emotional insulation when talking about their own problems, as if narrating events belonging to someone else. People who have been in prison for a long time gradually enter into emotional insulation to protect themselves from the pain of being hindered and only live in the present moment. We all use the emotional insulation mechanism from time to time to protect ourselves from disappointments. However, some people use this mechanism as a shell to protect themselves from all kinds of pain, thus reducing their active and healthy participation in life. These people tend to interpret being unemotional as a sign of strength. Emotional insulation is sometimes used together with the rationalization mechanism. In the defense mechanism called intellectualization, the person tries to escape the emotional experiences related to a painful event with logical explanations. For example, a person whose father has died may say, "He lived a good life," to protect themselves from the painful feelings caused by the event. A person who has been defeated may think, "I didn't take the necessary precautions anyway to alleviate feelings of worthlessness." Avoiding facing anxiety by objectively explaining emotional events is more common among the intellectuals of society. Thought and logic have become effective protection tools against emotional experience for modern humans. Nowadays, when many people come together, instead of living their emotions, they tend to establish relationships by constantly talking about sports or politics. In some people, the disconnection between emotion and thought can reach extreme proportions, and a contradiction can be seen between the thoughts they advocate and their emotional reactions. In this episode, we tried to explain and understand multiple defense mechanisms. We will continue from where we left off in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.